Good afternoon, everyone. This is dietitian Aditi Mudaliyar. Today, we're going to speak on the topic nutrition from infancy to adolescence. Okay, so there are 4 phases in the life cycle of a human being. It is infancy, childhood, adolescence, and adulthood. So today, we are going to speak on infancy, childhood, and adolescence. First is the infancy life stage. So infancy, I mean by infancy is from birth till the 1 year of life. This period is a period of very rapid growth, and the weight at birth is doubled at the 6 months of age, and it is tripled at 1 year. So if the weight is 3 kg at birth, it will double to 6 kg, and at the end of 1 year, it would be 9 kg. And during this period, the child will be able to crawl, babble, sit, and walk. The girls are mostly faster than boys in this stage. The next stage would be childhood stage, that is from 1 year to 3 years. This period is a period of very slow growth. This is nutritionally also very less demanding than infancy and adolescence. The average weight gain is 1.8 to 3.6 kg per year, and the average height gain is 5 to 10 centimeters per year. And heredity and genetics plays a very important role in the growth and development of the child. It is important for the child to have the right proportion of the weight to the height. So if there is any slight deviation or extreme deviation in the height and weight, it is a point of concern. Next stage is the adolescent stage. This stage is a period of very rapid growth. It is a stage of growth spurt till the puberty. And because of the hormonal changes involved in this stage, multiple body changes happen, and which includes growth of long bones, development of sex characteristics, and fat and muscle development. And for the boys, the adolescence usually starts, for boys, it starts later. It starts from 9 years and it continues till 18 years. For girls, it is earlier. It starts earlier at 8 years and it is only till 13 years. So these are different criterias of measuring the growth of the child. First is the physical, mental, emotional, social, and cultural. When I say physical, anthropometric measurements. So here we measure the child by the height and weight. Then second is the body measurements. Here in this criteria, various parameters like height, head circumference, chest circumference, pelvic girth, skin fold thickness. This is a very important criteria for measuring the malnutrition in a child. Mid-arm circumference. So here in the diagram, if you can see, the head circumference is greater than the chest circumference. Then the third criteria is the mental and physical aspects. By mental and physical aspects, I mean that the development of the child, mental development is a little slow, and the mental growth involves testing the child's ability to speak and use other forms of communication. The child grows, his capacity to handle and to identify different objects develops in this stage. And next is the biochemical test. In this, it is involved urine tests, blood tests, and X-rays to evaluate the growth of the child. Next is the nutritional analysis. We have various nutritional analysis to find out the growth of the child if required. Otherwise, a normal eating pattern, the healthy eating pattern, we can assess through that. Next is the mental growth. The same, like I told you, the mental and physical aspects, it is similar to that. Then the next is emotional growth. Emotional growth involves the child's capacity to love and have a feeling of love and affection. And it also evaluates how the child handles the frustration, anxiety, and ability to control aggression, jealousy, etc. And the last measurement is the social and cultural growth. The social development of the child is measured in terms of his ability to relate to others and how he can participate within a group. Then is the nutrients for growth process. So the growth process starts right from infancy. We have two growth spurts, which is the first growth spurt is during before 2 years of age, and the second growth spurt starts during the puberty age. For girls it starts at 8, and for boys it starts usually by 9 or 10. So here we can see what are the requirements during those growth processes. So for calories, the need for calorie is greater due to the increased physical activity. During this period, the physical activity of the child is very high. Even the metabolism is higher than the adults, and which can be met by carbohydrates, complex carbohydrates specifically. Sufficient quantity of fats. A good quality fat is important, especially the linoleic acid. However, excess animal fat should be avoided. Next is the protein. Protein is also called the growth factor. It is required for the building of tissues and for compensation of wear and tear of the tissues. The third is water. Infants tend to lose more water easily than adults. So the infant requires 10 to 15% of his body weight, and adults 2 to 4% of his body weight. The mineral requirement, all minerals are very important for overall growth of the child. Specifically, calcium and iron is required. Calcium is required for the rapid growth of bones and development of teeth, and iron for the formation of hemoglobin. Then the fifth important nutrient is vitamins. All vitamins for a variety of functions are important, and usually hypervitaminosis is seen, so it should be taken care of. Here comes the important point of the PPT, that is the nutritional requirement at different age groups. So we are going to see all age groups and the individual requirement in each age group. So first is the infancy, that is from the birth to 1 year. This is the first growth spurt of in the lifespan of a child. So the energy requirement is very high during this time. The calorie requirement is 530 kilocalorie in the 0 to 6 months and 660 kilocalorie per day in 7 to 12 months of age. Then this period is a period of rapid growth, and it demands high protein intake. High biological value protein is important. And only breast milk is recommended up to 6 months of age, and then slowly you can shift it to supplementary food. So weaning should only be started after 6 months. And because they don't have teeth, that is why liquid semi-solid food should be given till the teeth arises and begins to develop. Then they have very limited stores of iron. Hence, doctors usually supplement the child with iron and calcium supplements. And breast milk is ideal for infants. Breast milk has various advantages over formula milk and animal milk. We're going to see in the next slide. Only if insufficient breast milk is there, only then formula milk is suggested by the pediatrician. Breast milk fulfills psychological, nutritional, and physiological needs of the baby. So there is this thing called colostrum. It is secreted only in the first 5 days to the mother. So this colostrum is very important for the child because it is very high in sodium, calcium, and in zinc, and it has less fat but good quality fat, and it also has less lactose than animal milk. So one of the benefit of breast milk is it safeguards the child from various infections, and it has this good quality fat that I told, PUFA, polyunsaturated fatty acids. These are the advantages of breastfeeding. See, the advantages of breastfeeding, it has all the nutrients in right proportion as needed for the growth and development of the child, and it is also easily digestible. So that is why you don't get that curdling in breast milk as you will get it in the formula milk or animal milk. Then there is no possibility of contamination, but because it is going directly from the mother to the baby. However, adequate care of nipples after and before feeding has to be taken. Cleaning of the nipples is very important after and before feeding the baby. Then fat in human milk has high PUFA, that I told you, polyunsaturated fatty acids, which goes up to 40 grams per liter in the breast milk. Vitamins are already in a good amount, but their concentration depends largely on mother's diet. So mother's diet here plays a major role. If she has a good diet right from conception till the delivery of the baby, then vitamins are taken care of. Then the breast milk is low in sodium, which is good due to limited capacity of the newborn's kidney to deal with the load of the sodium. Then breast milk also contains antibodies that can protect the baby against infections. Many other anti-infective and anti-allergic properties are also present in breast milk. Then it forms a very strong emotional bond between the mother and the child. WHO has recommended to exclusively breastfeed the baby till 6 months of age, which can go up to 2 years. Later also you all can continue, but till 2 years it is recommended by WHO. And WHO, through many studies and research, has clarified the controversy regarding the breast milk versus the formula milk. And these advertising campaigns by various nutraceutical companies has led mother put their child on formula milk instead of breast milk in spite of the ability to have enough breast milk. So the incidences of malnutrition and death has increased due to it. So there are along with the advantages for the baby, there are some advantages for the mother as well. So it lowers the risk of ovarian and breast cancer in the mother. The weight loss after pregnancy is faster for mothers. Also, the uterus gets contracted very fast if she's breastfeeding the baby. And also, it is very money saving, so it is economical. Then the stage of supplementary feeding comes in infancy. So when it starts after exclusively breastfed feeding the baby for 6 months. So individual needs and responses of the infant varies. However, when the infant has developed sufficient muscular coordination and involving the tongue and swallowing reflex to be able to eat solid food, they may be introduced. This is a very important criteria to judge and to start supplementary feeding, that if the child has developed all these muscular coordination and swallowing reflexes, it is a very good time to start supplementary feeding. So it may vary from baby to baby. Hence, it has been seen that the ideal time to start supplementary feeding is 6 months. So there are some do's and don'ts in starting these. Solid food, start solid food appropriate from development point of view. So this involves nutritious and a wholesome supplementary feed. Do not introduce more than one food at a time, because if that baby develops allergy due to any certain food, we may not know it is because of which food if we introduce more than one food. So you can start with puddings, kheers, and strained mashed fruits, because fiber may cause some irritation in the intestine. Strained cooked vegetables, potato. By the end of 1 year, a child should be able to consume three basic meal pattern with intervening snacks by the end of 1 year. Also initiate with egg white only, then add egg yolk and then whole egg. So at least this process should take at least 1 to 2 months. If a child refuses a food, do not force him to eat. He may develop aversion to it, and gradually increase the portion size. You all can slightly season the food that you make for the baby using turmeric, coriander, and cumin powder, hing, and cinnamon powder. And feeding the baby at the same time is important along with all the family members, so it develops a bond with them. Also, it inculcates a good eating pattern. It will also help them in increasing the appetite. If a new food has been refused by the child, take some time off from that food and reintroduce that food after a few months. And these are some options of finger foods you all can give, like cucumber, boiled carrot, fruits, soft fruits. And this is the table that I've given. You all can introduce this foods in the certain age, like fruit juices without sugar. Make sure that it is without sugar. Vegetable soup, moong dal and rice, very soft khichdi. You all can introduce it at the 6 months of age. Mashed banana, chiku, stewed apple, pear, papaya, mango, boiled and stewed. Mashed, well cooked vegetables can be introduced by 6 to 7 months. Then all kinds of porridge, rava porridge, rice porridge using milk, ghee, dalia, nachni is ragi, sabudana, and fruit custard. You all can introduce at the age of 6 to 9 months. This is a very important point that I've highlighted, that no sugar and salt has to be added in a diet of a child up to 1 year, because their kidneys have not been developed, and they cannot filter the sugar and high salt diet. Then comes the second stage, that is the nutrition in childhood, 1 year to 3 years. So this is also called a toddler period. Unlike infancy, toddlers eat less food and have less appetite because their physical activity increases. They don't have the ability to sit in one place and eat. So this reduces the appetite and the liking for eating food. Through the years of childhood, their muscle development is more and bones begin to lengthen. Hence, child needs adequate calories and high protein and minerals for growth. So, if supplementation has been done after 6 months of age, then by this time a child eats 3 meal pattern diet, that is breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but without adding any heavy spices, oils, and fats. Some children who dislike milk, feed them with curds, paneer, milk solids in hidden form, in the form of preparations like mashed potato. The cream can be used in it, soups, and custard. Then other foods that may be introduced are chapati soaked in dal and milk, chicken, mutton, bone soup, minced, very finely minced meat, but without spices. Some toddlers may drink more milk than required. Uh, it is not recommended at all, because when they exclude solid food and they just rely on milk. So, for such children, food and meal timings should be made more attractive so that acceptance of food is readily accomplished. And refined sweets, fried foods must be totally avoided. Then offer variety of foods in very small amounts. Encourage self feeding and allow some degree of food choices, so that they get the habit of making choices of what they want to eat and what they do not want to eat, so that eating can be pleasant and positive. This is a sample meal plan for toddlers that I've made. For breakfast, they can have half glass of milk, plain milk, one chapati with white butter, that is makhan or homemade ghee, egg omelette or boiled egg. Then for the lunch, they can have ragi dosa, potato curry, rice dal, and curd. The quantity will be very small, so do not think that it is too much for a toddler. Then mid afternoon, they can include one fruit, a soft fruit. By evening, again has half glass of milk and 1 teaspoon of nuts. So nuts can be soaked or raw nuts. Soaked one will be easily digestible for them, so soaked one should be preferred. For dinner, one chapati, one pumpkin vegetable, and again rice and dal. Next stage is the nutrition in preschool age, that is 3 to 6 years. So this is the growth. This is the period of growth which happens in spurts. It doesn't happen continuous, but it is in spurts. At times, child is active and is involved in continuous play, whereas he's passive at other times. Mental capacities are also being developed during this time, because the children goes to school and they learn different things. Proteins, calcium, iron, DHA, vitamin A, and C are very required in high quantity during these periods, because there is bone growth and muscle development during this period. So preschoolers demand lots of variety in food, but they may be disinterested in eating. They generally prefer single food with simple flavors. So we cannot give them complicated food recipes to eat, but simple food should be preferred rather than complicated ones. For example, some like curd rice or spice, one vegetable curry should be enough. And they are more interested in the texture, color, and the form of food. So they get attracted. And so that is why finger foods are introduced or can be introduced in this stage as well. And it is more readily acceptable also. So milk is less preferred by preschoolers. Other foods should be added that provide calcium, phosphorus, and high biological value protein if milk is less preferred by the child. This is a sample meal plan for the preschoolers. For breakfast, they can have half glass of milk and omelette. For lunch, a potato paratha or any vegetable stuffed paratha, cucumber raita, and rice with dal palak. So a green leafy vegetable can be included here. Then in snacks, again half glass of milk, one seasonal fruit. Dinner can be fulka, mixed veg vegetable, kadhi, and bedtime turmeric milk. Then comes nutrition in young school age, that is 6 to 12 years. So growth is not fast here in this period, but it is continuous. Boys and girls have to build up resources for the adolescent period, and that lies ahead of them, because after this age comes the adolescence period. So that is the time every tissue of the body grows very rapidly, and likes and dislikes have already developed in the earlier years. So they become more fussy during this period, and eating of snacks becomes more common. So it is an important task for the mother to provide them variety of snacks which is healthy. Then some traditional and nutritional snacks options I've given here. So they can be chikki, either peanut chikki or til chikki. They can have chuda, rice flakes chuda or corn chuda, various laddus. They can have coconut besan, urad dal, moong dal. Thali peet is a very good option, so that uh, multigrain multigrains can be used in thali peet. Also khakra. Then is the period of adolescence. So it is characterized by the onset of puberty. It is a period of the second growth spurt in the life of a child. Then maturation in children widely varies widely, because it is different for girls and it is different for boys. So body changes in girls and boys are the result of hormonal changes that happen, that regulates the development of sex characteristics in both of them. Differences in growth pattern can be seen. For example, there is an increase of accumulation of subcutaneous fat in abdominal areas for girls. There is also increase in bone development, especially around the pelvic region. So girls are tend to be more chubbier than boys. Girls, although boys although are slow in growth, but they beat girls in the height and weight. So they put on much more muscle mass, and there is growth of long bones for boys. Then this period is also characterized by heavy demands of calories and proteins. So your appetite also increases of the children. So it is important for the mothers to give them high protein and variety of foods. And need for iron and calcium continues for both girls and boys. And specifically for girls, it is important for us to give them iron, vitamin C, and good quality protein. This nutrient requirement is due to the menstruation of during this period, which starts. Then metabolism for both girls and boys is very high. Then the need for iodine is also increased for both girls and boys. And vitamin A and B complex is needed for muscle tissue development. And for girls, if the physical activity does not match her intake, it may result in excessive body deposits. So this is specifically for girls, because then it is hormonally also they tend to put more fat. Then this is a sample meal plan for adolescents. um, Adolescents diet plan should be a miniature of a diet which has to be taken during adulthood. So it is important for us to have a small frequent meals pattern right in the adolescence. So it forms a good formation, a good basis for them to have good nutrition in adulthood as well. So early morning, 1 glass of milk and handful of mixed nuts, either soaked or raw form, can be given. Breakfast, egg preparation or and fruit milkshake, any fruit milkshake. Then lunch, chapati, one rajma usal for protein, salad, curd and rice. Mid afternoon, one a fruit bowl can be had. Evening, dhokla, dinner time, chapati, kadhi, rice, vegetable, brinjal sabji, any sabji would do. And bedtime. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 meal pattern can be set for adolescents. Yeah, so we have come to the end of the PPT. So the how to summarize is the children are great imitators. So give them something great to imitate. If parents have good eating habits, the children are going to imitate the same. If they see packet foods kept at home, they're going to have the same packet foods, consume the same packet foods which are there present at home. They see the elders having it. So if we form a good like a good idol for them, they will have good eating habits. Thank you. So if anybody has questions, I'm happy to